Hey folks, how is everyone doing? Starting a little bit early, a couple minutes earlier than planned. How is everyone doing? Happy Easter, by the way. Hope everyone had a well, not not a lot of people gathering and such, right? I guess this is more of a would be more of an online type of Easter, right? Sean Hank, 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy Easter, man. Who's telling me about his mask having a wine straw? Well, most of these masks, I have one actually right here. They have like the straw for like this S10 has the straw for your canteen. So I guess you could have wine through it, right? Roger coming in loud and clear. Hey man, happy Easter. A privet hedge and rickety fence gardening channel. Hey, how are you doing? Myra, hi. Happy Easter, Myra. Happy Easter from Louisiana. How's everyone dealing with the quarantine? Anyone showing up to any essential job or something like that? Make it be. Anyone got eggs? We did eggs. We did a couple of the. Oh, lights went crazy there. We found a few in the store, so we did a few, and we had the kids go around looking for them. It was okay. There was not a huge variety in the store. It was just a few to choose from, but it was okay. David H. A quarantine hello from Boston. Where are you? I used to live in Boston when I was little, many years ago. Yeah, in Newton. David H. Happy Easter from Seattle. Someone I live with is showing symptoms. It's like living in an Ebola ICU. Man, someone is showing symptoms that they have a coronavirus, you mean? Someone I live with is showing symptoms. Hey, take care. Happy Happy Zombie Jesus Day. Yeah. Well, that sucks. I mean, try to be careful with someone you live with, like in the same house. That's complicated. Any chance of isolating that person or in a room or something? Yeah, I just finished doing the. I did a live one for my Spanish channel just a couple hours ago. So people everywhere, man, are pretty scared, worried, and concerned with everything going on. I was just reading that they are releasing people from jails in Argentina en mass, like 600 at a time, almost no control over who's getting off the hook. David H. Hey, Fernando, can you talk about Spanish gun laws? Are all those weapons you own real or BB guns? They're all BB guns. I don't have any real guns. I hate real guns. Only criminals have guns. I just have BBs. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yes, of course, they're real guns. And it depends on what you're buying. Um, One of the things our folks in United States don't know is that all across Europe, guns are legal. The only place where, well, it's understandable that most folks in the United States, their input from anything Europe usually comes from UK, right? And UK definitely has some of the more draconian gun laws around. Even in UK, you could own a shotgun, nothing like the one I have here because of the barrel length, but all across Europe, you can own pistols, semi-automatic rifles, ARs. That's pretty much in all European countries. You can own any of those and practice action shooting sports, which are fairly popular. So pretty much anywhere in Europe except for UK, you can own an AR-15 and a Glock. You know. Hmm. Ireland also has pretty crappy gun laws as well. But those two would be the exceptions. The two English speaking countries in Europe are the ones that have by far the worst gun laws. Keep in mind, HK, German company, Glock, Austria, it's a place where traditionally guns have been made and have been, fairly popular and common. Get a fan, open a window, and get the air out of the isolation room. Use plastic sheaths to the door. Yeah, that's concerning. If you have someone showing symptoms, you really have to isolate that person. It's not easy by any means, but can be done if you have the room. They have been isolated. Red zone area. I go out to the room. Orange zone place. They are allowed. My green zone. I can take off PPE and relax. You have to wash gloves and take them off, then wash. I lost all my guns in a boating accident. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I only have the only things you see here are all BB guns. I don't have any real firearms. Your hands then take off mask and rewash. Very difficult than spraying with bleach. Yeah, it's very hard having someone showing symptoms. You should keep them like in a room and avoid contact as much as you can. No joke, that's a tough one to deal with. You seem to have more freedom than us here in Massachusetts. AR-15s are banned and Glocks are not allowed for sale. Really? You cannot own a Glock in Massachusetts? What's up with that? I thought you could. I mean, I'm sure it was pretty restrictive, but there's no way you could own a Glock or an AR-15 in all of in entire Massachusetts. If you have to be quarantined in the same house with someone infected, you best to make the room they're in a negative pressure airflow. Only going to a room, exhaust outside. Yeah, that would be the ideal thing to do if you could force air into that room and allow it to leak to exterior through a window. Rubén Bruna. Hola Fer, saludos desde Argentina. Hi man, you missed this live stream in Supervivencia Moderna. Got my first gun, all ammo sold out, Max Carter. Well, yeah, big gun runs, right? There's massive gun runs. I don't know. I've been getting messages from people that are now buying their first guns in the United States. I mean, for a Spanish audience, not that much of a surprise because a lot of folks don't have guns, even preppers in the Spanish community. But I'm surprised that so many American preppers did not, and American survivalists did not have guns. That's kind of like a whoa. It's one of the first things most preppers tend to buy. Hello everyone, happy Easter. Hey man, Silver Turtle 65. David H. Can't own Glocks. We have consumer safety laws that don't allow Glocks because they lack certain safety features. Come on, really? So you cannot own Glocks in all Massachusetts because they lack a certain safety feature. That's so stupid. Well, it's kind of like how long was the Kinder, the chocolate egg, the Kinder egg with a little toy inside? How long was that banned in the United States because of a choking hazard? Who the hell chokes on a Kinder egg? You have to be like a rhinoceros to choke on that. Yet it was for a very long time. It was downright banned, right, in the United States. Crazy. Colorado biker prepper Max Carter. If it's your first gun, go get training. Yes, absolutely, good advice. And assault weapons have been banned in Massachusetts since 1998. Can only be, whoa, that went fast. Control the airflow Thanks for your help. I watched your interview with Dave Jones. Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking about. We talked about exactly this with Dave Jones about how would you go about if you have someone infected in your house. If anyone suspiciously showing symptoms, that interview is in the channel. Go back a couple of months when we first started talking about these things. An interview with David Jones, who's an expert in this field. Working on your book street survival skills. Man, thanks. I hope you like it. It's slowly gaining traction still. By far, my first book seems to be the more popular one. My last book is the one I believe is the more complete one, especially for these kind of situations, the one we're seeing now. But little by little, it's getting noticed more, and more people are buying it. Hope you like it, man. Let me know what you think about it when you get the chance. Just recently purchased a Glock 22 in California, waited 10 days and passed background check and bought plenty of ammunition. Good idea. Thanks for all your support and information, guys. I appreciate it. I have guns but prefer my wood baseball bat unless I'm really cornered. SB. It's ecological friendly and green. That cordite has powerful smell. I'm an essential worker. Have little one at home. I'm scared to come home from work. Sean Hank, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey man, take care. There's a lot of people in that position. Super personal decision what you do, especially if you have small kids. If you have, if you're a parent, you have a responsibility, especially if you're not getting the equipment that you need so as to do things safely. That would be one of the red lines, at least for me. 3 and 1 Igma. 619, longtime fan from San Diego. Used to read your print blog when you only had a Glock on 357 SIG. Yeah, well, I think I had the Glock, my 357 SIG, and I soon got a Glock 9mm. So I had those two for a long time back in the day. Now just 9mm, keeping it more simple, just, getting older, more boring. But 357 SIG is a great round. Love it. Love it. Just super zappy round. Hurrah, Biker Prepper, Max Carter. I would also strangely recommend getting firearms retention training from some martial art instructor. You'd be surprised how quickly you can be disarmed by someone with the right training. That's also true. But if you're getting good defensive shooting training on some of the more advanced levels, that's something that's definitely covered. Gun retention, we kind of have to learn how to fight with a gun, right? It's not just about shooting. But it's true, many times just people focus on the shooting part and not so much about, fighting. And if someone is really on top of you, it's usually the best fighter that wins, not the best shooter. The best hand-to-hand fighter, I mean. I love the Smith & Wesson 380 EZ. Bought one for 2 of my daughters, and all my range buddies with big guns like them so much they got one for their wives. Yeah, 380. It's a nice soft shooting round. I just put bear traps all over my house and yard. If the intruder gets through that, I break out the AK and my 75 round drum. Hey McLovin, the Irish R&B singer, how does that 75 round drum mag work? Do you find it to be reliable, or any reliability problems with it? I mean, because it sounds like a great idea, only if it works right. If it works rightly, right? But let me know if you can how reliable it's been, how many rounds have you put through it, something like that. I like to know. Max Carter, okay, thanks. It's not down. Best thing about this cerveza bug. It's getting better prep. Hopefully, this isn't last chance. No, man, it's not going to be the last chance or anything. It's going to be rough for sure, no doubt. And we're looking at a tough year ahead, and combined with the economy, which will also be a big challenge for a lot of people. It would be even more of a thing than the actual virus, the economic impact of all of this. Also, guys, the night before yesterday, the person had stomachache and headache and temperature of 36.4. Well, 36.4 is what any normal person should have in terms of temperature. That's not a fever, 36.4. Can I get away without a shotgun for home defense? Handguns, long guns only. Can I get away with a shotgun for home defense? Yeah, sure you can. I mean, man, you can get away with any gun for home defense pretty much. If you have a firearm, even if it's a single barrel shotgun or something like that, yeah, that would be kind of crappy. Double barrel would be even better, you know. But if you have a double barrel shotgun, you have a firearm, you have means of self protection. And if you see lots of those YouTube videos where home defenders shoot back, it's usually criminals usually take off after one round being fired. Of course, ideally, you wouldn't be just relying on that. That would kind of suck. But it's usually the way it goes, you know. It's a Chinese 25 round drum, very reliable. The Korean drums are very unreliable. Okay, thanks for the tip. The Romanian drums are hit and miss. Okay, so the Chinese ones are the ones to get, right? That's good to know. Max Carter, personally, I think this is just the beginning. We're heading into next Great Depression as this continues. Yeah, it's gonna be a Great Depression for sure. We will be getting into severe economic trouble soon. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. This is gonna be a huge impact. Lots of jobs lost. And there's gonna be a lot of tension between nations. You know, it's gonna be a period redefining how countries interact with one another as of right now. It's kind of everyone to themselves, and just let everyone fend for themselves as best as they can. Same, I think there will be a second wave. Like people, yeah, with these things, when you have pandemics, you usually have a couple waves or even three waves, and it's usually that the first one is not. It's not the worst, you know. It's usually that the first one is tends to be the mildest one. Colorado Biker Prepper on. Matt Bracken. Great stuff, Fernando. Hey, Matt. Good to see you there, man. We have to do another podcast, Matt. It was great the last couple of times we did it. We have to do it again. Let me know then when you have a minute there what day works for you. Are you quarantined over there in Florida as well? Yeah, I believe you are, right? Fernando, you didn't read the rest. It was 36.4, then over it went to 39 in a few hours and developed okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense then. So 39 feet, yeah, that's definitely a fever. 39, it usually tends to be like 40, like a pretty high fever. I mean, it could be, some people are completely asymptomatic, but it seems to be that in general, you have a pretty high fever. How do you make a Glock 19 safer in a home since it doesn't have a safety lock like other guns? Well, a gun is not safe because of the manual lock, because of the manual safety that it has. You could make a Glock safe by just keeping it in a safe or a trigger lock if that's something that you're concerned about. Food, medicine, guns, ammo should be top priority. Yes, of course, and a good gas mask as well. That would be a pretty big priority too. 3-in-1, people are too reliant on firearms. Some practice with a good bow can be extremely deadly. Oh, Colorado biker prepper. You lost me there, man. No, a bow, really? No, you need a firearm. If things really get ugly, you're going to be needing a firearm. That's Be careful of your caliber and penetration for your home defense. Don't waste. You want to shoot. Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, if you're going to be shooting up with your AR, your AK, lots of penetration in those. I bought your book on Amazon, but won't arrive till the 25th. Looking forward to receiving it. Seek777. Sure. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay there in Amazon shipping. Matt Bracken, great bioweapon by the China CCP. It does tremendous damage to their Western enemies, but remains below the Pearl Harbor 9/11 immediate retaliation level. Man, haven't they done a number on everyone, right? Matt, we have to talk about this. We should. I'll send you an email after this, and we'll organize. Let me know when you can talk, and I'd love to talk with you about. I don't know for sure how all this started, But man, didn't they weaponize it in the way they made sure it spread all over the world? They've hidden what was going on. They lied through their teeth all the time. And look at the damage they managed to do. Look at the number of deaths they managed to achieve, and even benefiting from it. They're just selling people. They're selling the entire world stuff that they need, having caused all of this themselves. Yes, the KCI mags are unreliable, all Gen 1s. Watch for loss. Yeah, that's another one. The loss of smell and taste. Those seem to be pretty frequently mentioned symptoms. Matt Bracken, just look at Western navies. The Teddy Roosevelt CVN is out of mission capable in Guam. Ditto Francis Soul carrier. Yeah, there's a carrier with 500 infected, right? I was reading about that. Any time for another Sky video? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking about for home defense, not for open combat. Don't know about bow. If you're in an apartment in New York City, better than a baseball bat for those who can't get a gun. Yeah, if you can't get a gun, man, that's a question I get asked quite a bit. Let me know what you guys think in terms of if you can't get a firearm, what would you be using? I usually tell like a spear, like a short spear. That's historically been a pretty effective weapon if you cannot have a firearm. A crossbow maybe would be another way to go. But the thing about bows, crossbows, it's like you have just one bolt. With a spear, you can just start, stabbing people from a distance. That's what crossbows are for. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Fernando, that gas mask, do you think it's good on a budget? For what gas mask do you think is good on a budget? At this stage, you just need any gas mask you can get hold of. Buying a 3M, just look for a 3M mask. If I think you were in Wales, right? Or is somewhere in England? If I'm not, yeah, it wasn't England, was Wales. Get any gas mask you can. You're running out of time because these things are just going to keep selling. A crossbow is better than a compound bow, but any bow is better than throwing plates and bows. Yeah. Yeah, the spear, the good old sharp stick, that is a pretty solid one, I think. You can get used to soft body armor. You can get used to soft body armor on eBay. It costs about 1/5 of the new. Yeah, that's true as well. That's a good one. Matt, do you believe the Ford's Dietrich possibility? I hear a lot of talk about recent. Max Carter, we have so many lefties who did anything they could to help the Chicoms. Do you think Spanish property prices will crash as a tourism season turns into a disaster? Man, it definitely could use a bit of going down because prices have been ridiculous over here. It's just incredible. Anything sells for a fortune. The market needs a bit of readjustment. And if this does it, well, so be it. But yeah, it probably should be going down. But Spanish people are weird, man. They kind of hold on to their ideas of what something costs. It's just I wouldn't bet on it. It should, but I wouldn't bet on it. Golf club is better than a baseball bat. No, a homemade spear is better than a baseball bat. The baseball bat is just movie stuff. You cannot get a whole lot of leverage and even if you do, hitting someone with a stick is never as effective as stabbing someone or with a machete. Yeah, absolutely. Matt Bracken, golf clubs are wicked, like one ASP baton already extended and not a weapon. Yeah, that's also true. Can you mail order black powder firearms to almost any state? Well, yes, that is in fact, yes, a good point. A lot of people that cannot own firearms can still own black powder guns. And if you're a little bit creative with your black powder guns, you can get some very decent firearms. And if you really get powder firearms, you can set up a gun with 6 shots that's going to be just as effective as a metal cartridge, a single action revolver. And you're talking about a very decent firearm. 50 cal air gun. Tom Colbert. I'd go with the black powder gun all day long. Thank you for your 1 year food supply is not enough video. William, well, yeah, that was a good one, right? With Daniel in Venezuela. The guy bought a year and a half worth of food, thinking it was gonna be enough. But socialist government that never goes away, even a year and a half worth of food is just not enough. I think that was a great point of his. I have to talk with that guy again. Daniel is a wealth of information, and he's dealing with some pretty serious stuff. I'd sure buy a small property condo in España for sure, Matt. Yeah, man, if prices do go down, that would be nice. Portugal, I've been talking with a guy who bugged out of Spain. He went to Portugal. He bought a property in Portugal, which is even cheaper. Spain is not cheap. Spain is quite expensive. Portugal is a lot cheaper, and it's just a couple hours away, depending on where you are. A spear for home defense can be in two parts that are innocent but can be put together in 2 seconds. Knife plus hiking stick, spear, not weapon until you clip it on like a bayonet. Yeah, absolutely. You never have enough food for a socialist government. Get yourself a 30-footer and go. I've been thinking about that for a long time. I mean, as you know, I have like a marina here, like just a couple hundred yards. I have the beach, and man, wouldn't that be a great way? That's something I'll definitely have to look into in the future. Learn to sail. I've always had that in the back of my mind, and never really got to it. But in a situation like this, if it gets really bad and driving is not an option, catching a plane is not an option. If you have a boat, you just get on your boat and you just take off. That's a huge advantage in a time like this. Isn't it true that a crossbow you can get armor-piercing tips? You probably could. Probably you could get some type of bolt that goes through soft panels, through Kevlar. I'm sure there could be something you could put together that goes through it. But it's just one shot, that's the thing. People change the black powder cylinder for a smokeless powder. Can be done as well. I can figure out Portuguese, vino branco instead of blanco, vino tinto instead of red wine. Yeah. If you can sail a 4-meter dinghy, a 15-meter yacht is even easier. It's something I have to do. There's sailing classes just down the road from here. I have to get into that. Fernando, wasn't your wife in the medical field? What does she think of all this? No, my wife, she's actually a lawyer, not medical field. Property is cheaper in Portugal and Spain, but I think food and other living costs seem higher. No, I think I checked those, and Portugal would be cheaper than living in Spain. I'm pretty sure of that. Portugal is maybe one of the cheapest countries in all of Europe. Not all of Europe. Eastern Europe is probably cheaper, but the quality of life you get in Eastern Europe not as good as the one you would be getting in Portugal. Climate also a big difference there. Portugal is an interesting option, but they speak Portuguese. If that doesn't bother you, then go for it. It's a great place, and prices are cheap. One thing I've learned, what Fernando has said all along, it's not going to go down the way you want it. It's not going to be sexy when it does. No, it's kind of boring, right? This thing about being in a quarantine. Man, I just hope it just doesn't get any worse in terms of social violence. I was doing an interview with Todd Sepulveda. He's the guy that has the Prepper website, and he was asking about this. Do you expect social unrest and such? It really depends on where you are. There's places, there's states, there are cities that are more known for social violence, that sort of thing. If that's traditionally what happens, it is definitely something I try to keep in mind and prepare for it. Viva Vox. Yes, Silvia. Yeah, you can. It's okay if you just say it one time. If you repeat the same thing 10 times, kind of. Yeah. Do you invest in precious metals? I have a little bit in precious metals. Yeah, not any huge fortunes or anything like that, but yeah, I think it's worth it. Gold and silver. It's a way of protecting at least some of your assets. Yes, cross oppose, and a great book by Matt Bracken, Enemies, his Enemy series, all of the Enemies series from Matt Bracken. Go check it out in Amazon. Uh, some of the best prepper novels or novel in general. He writes very well. And in one of Matt Bracken's books, there's a character that has a boat for escaping, and and one of the guys, one of the bad guys, sort of stops a boat and goes through it and finds that the guy in the boat has a pile of gold coins and gold. Yeah, yeah, gold plays a pretty important role in several of Matt's books. Yeah, absolutely recommending those because I do love uh, his work. Fernando, aren't you an architect or whoever you spell that? I did work in the architecture field and taught architecture in the University of Buenos Aires for a while. But yeah, that was I haven't done anything related to that in quite some time. Personal care items and gas is more expensive in Portugal. Okay, I didn't know that. So gas is more expensive? That in Spain, you mean? I rather own guns ammo instead of gold silver. Gun ammo, which more liquid in SHTF. No, gold is definitely more liquid. I've sold guns pretty fast. Guns is not it's not a bad way to go. And popular guns, not anything weird or anything too strange. A Glock sells very fast anywhere in the world. Um, for sure. They're one of the fastest selling guns. A Glock 9mm, Glock 19, Glock 17, those things sell like crazy. And a solid AR will sell, an AK sells. You know, those are like staples. They sell very well, but it doesn't sell as, you cannot deal with that as fast as with gold. It is also true that if you sell fast, you can lose quite a bit of money in that exchange. If you can fly a hang glider for dinghy, then a Cessna 14-meter sailboat is easier. Then any sailboat anywhere in the world is a long-range bucket vessel that crosses ocean. Remember Papillion. Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. Man, I have to get involved in that. And you know what, Matt? I'll do it with my kids because my oldest kid is almost 18 now, and he definitely is capable of learning that. I think it's a great skill. Sailing is a great skill to have. We definitely have to get involved more with that. I've always had it like a to-do list thing. Never got around to it, but ironically, I've always lived close to the ocean and close to ports, marinas. So it's a real shame they haven't done it still. Good day, all. Sorry I'm late. I'm hiding out. John Huckin. Hey, man, how are you doing? I'm living the financial breakdown of Lebanon now. About. You're in Lebanon, man? Use your book as a reference. Lots of things happen just like in Argentina. It's crazy. And now the coronavirus to complicate things even more. Man, that's tough. How's Lebanon right now? How bad do you think it's going to get in Florida or USA in general? Man, it's complicated because one of the things is, for example, here in Spain, the socialist government ignored the threat and acted late, and because of that, they ended up causing killing thousands of people that should not have perished if they had acted when told to, when they knew they should have acted, and they delayed everything for political reasons. They had the Women's March, and they had a couple other things they wanted to allow to happen, and they just delayed the quarantine too much, and that has been terrible. But once the Spanish are strange people. Once the lockdown was was in place, everyone kind of followed through. The thing that you have in the United States is you have 50 states that are each one like a little country on its own. And if you have some of them that have a quarantine and some of them that don't, it's very hard. And with people traveling among between states, it's very hard to control the virus. So I don't know. I do know it's going to be pretty bad for quite some time. And as you're seeing right now, the United States getting hit pretty bad. When you say Portugal, is it mainland Portugal or the Azores? Now I'm thinking mainland Portugal, right? That would be a cool place. And this guy I know, he has a farm, like a homestead over there, cheap enough when he bought it apparently. Man, breaking about, I was in Lebanon in spring 1983, like California in many ways, great country in so many ways. With your kids, it's perfect. Any marina that has lessons, like riding a bike, once you have the skill, you can sail anything, anywhere. Yeah, yep. I've seen the classes. There's the flyers everywhere here because it's a place where it's typical. So it's as soon as this is relax a little bit, it's something we're gonna be doing. Man, we have this summer right around the corner. So if things do get a little bit better, it's definitely something we'll be doing. I won't be delaying it anymore. Interesting. Sailing appears difficult to those who haven't looked into it, like me, Max Carter. Yeah, but everything when you don't do it looks difficult, but everything, if you put some effort to it, you can actually pull it and actually do it. So we'll be doing that. When you look at Beirut from the ocean at sundown, you cannot see the difference from Santa Barbara, California. The empowering, well, that went fast. The empower contingent supply chain and people the ability to procure essential goods. Azores are awesome. I stopped there on a 10-meter sailboat. 10 millimeter would be a pretty small sailboat. A 10-meter sailboat in 1976 during the Cold War. It was amazing. I thought the ICBMs may fly. Azores will not change. Man, that's awesome. Having sailed all over the world like that, that's pretty cool. I was posting in my group about a plant called Ricinus. The toxin it is one of the most poisonous toxins in the world and has been weaponized. Now COVID-19, the Azores will be the same. $1,200 doesn't even pay rent for most people. Sailing is easy, docking not so much. Tom Copper. Yeah, probably that's the tricky part, right? I see lots of these cruise ship captains just slam it against the port. I don't know if they're drunk or they're just distracted or what, but it seems to happen surprisingly often. Smart Americans should be grateful if only $1,200. Takes too long, think crime will go crazy. Americans living paycheck to paycheck can't afford a bump in taxes. Well, yeah, I don't know where I was. I read it. Like half of people, was it? I don't know. You guys let me know if you read it also. But there was an article somewhere some time ago about half people in the United States don't have $400 for an emergency, like cash. They just have debt. That's the kind of thing that when you're out of job, when you're unemployed, man, and in such numbers, the impact to the economy is going to be pretty terrible. And especially in the third world, this is what I was talking with some of the folks in my Spanish channel when I just did another live stream just a couple hours ago. The poor countries, third world countries, are going to be hit even worse, both by the virus and by the economic impact of all of this. Hawaii must be nice. Never been there. Colorado, $1,200 is pulled out of Federal Reserve Bank's It's just devaluation of currency. Just print more money out of thin air. Yeah, that's it. That's the point, right? When you keep on printing money, it devaluates it further. You're just and one of the things that I find quite concerning is some of these packages of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars or God knows what. It seems to always evaporate in a number of institutions or agencies or God knows what, and so little of all that even reaches people. Plus, people losing health care or don't have any. That's a big one as well. That's a big problem. Yeah, and the price of getting treated, no joke. True, sailing is easier on a bigger boat. Docking is harder, especially on a mandatory schedule. Anchor out and wait for calm winds and tides. They don't, and it's crazy. When I was Navy, there was E7s and E8s tucked to had zero savings saved. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing that a lot of folks do. And money. I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But money is so. There were a number of things that people did not have a plan ahead of time. There's a lot of people that when all of this started getting worse, they went to Walmart, started stocking up on food, toilet paper. But if you don't have money to make those additional purchases, uh, maybe instead of buying more food, you go buy yourself a gas mask if you didn't have one. But for all of these additional last minute preps, you actually need that cash. Yeah, Lebanon is a beautiful country. Those same warlords from the Civil War when you were there in 1988 are still around and have robbed the country dry very sad. That seems to always be the case, right? In these countries, those guys are immortal. Those seems that the more corrupt people are, the longer they last. Read this funny point of view on survival from a delivery driver. Hawaii is no paradise. Pearl Harbor is number one nuclear target. Yeah, man, but it's a very cool place. Hawaii seems awesome. Never been there, but it seems like a pretty nice place to visit. If printed money worked, Venezuelans would all be rich. Yeah, exactly. What is like $1 is like 10 million Venezuelan bolivares or whatever it's called right now. Uh, I was talking with this guy Daniel, and he told me that there's these places called bodegas where the rich people in Venezuela, the ones that are hooked with the government, they go buy in those places in U.S. dollars, which is the unofficial official currency in Venezuela. And he tells me that he goes to those places and just he cannot afford buying anything, but he goes to these places and he looks a lot of the stuff that he can no longer afford, but he used to be able to afford a while back. Again, it was a great conversation with him. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak any English, but man, would I like to have him in the channel and do a podcast with him as well. New York has always been predicted to be a worst place to be in SHTF. Plus, we're entering hurricane season. Yeah, well, that's talking more specifically about uh, preparedness in a more academic sense. Major metropolises like New York City or some other main capitals. That's the kind of thing you really want to avoid because these are major population centers. There are major capitals in case of terrorist attacks, war. These are the places that usually get targeted. I'm more of the idea of finding an in-between point, a city large enough but small enough so that you avoid the things you don't want to have, but big enough so that you have everything you need. That's usually the kind of thing I try to go for and recommend to our people. Yeah, we'll do that later. Somebody sent it to me and I posted it and had 4K FB shares. The good news is that this virus is a strong wake-up call and Americans to have preps ready. I do think the blue state people will sell their guns as soon as it's all over, though. Yeah, well, I've been getting messages from in my Instagram these last few weeks. By the way, I'll write it down. It's at Furfeld308. That's my Instagram, and I've been getting Instagram messages from people all over the world that are just very interested all of a sudden in buying firearms. They just developed an instant appreciation for guns, understandably so, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, probably some people will go back to their old ways very fast. Just as you say, just sell their guns if they bought some. Sarah Dujapi, should we take the risk and keep making supermarket runs for resupply? Man, that's something I was talking with a friend. A friend of mine is, he's in his homestead. He's not leaving. He's isolated there. I'm making a supermarket run once a week. Uh, and I was explaining to him, I just don't want to start using my supply of food, and I want to keep buying fresh stuff as well. So instead of using the food stock that I have, I just want to keep um, adding adding to it and replacing it. What I do is just put on my mask, gloves, cover as much as possible. And I do live in Spain in a part where there's really very few people. There's almost, it's one of the lowest, uh, one of the areas with the least amount of infected people. So um, the risk is rather low, to be completely honest. I think it was actually measured at 0.01% before the lockdown. Now it would be um, much even less. Sierra, wear a legit N95 mask to protect you. A surgical mask is to protect others. That's fine, but what about you? Yeah, absolutely. I just wear a gas mask. I just wear my GSR and go with that. Username, they will sell them to me and my friends. We will buy them all. You can't have too many guns or too much gold. They are real money. True. We'll probably see guns go down in value when it's over since so many will be sold. Yeah, this is the worst time to go buy guns. The prices are just ridiculous. Use your food stores in case it gets real bad. Yeah, well, survive anything. Well, that's kind of the idea. Why would I start using my food supply now? If it gets really bad, like stores closing or shortages or empty shelves, that sort of thing. Sure, but using up my supply of food. I mean, this has already been going on for a month. If I started using my food supply right now, I would be out of a month worth of food already. This way, I just keep adding to it instead of using it. My storage food is for when they are shooting at people at a supermarket parking lot. I wear my A95 with a face seal and go right in. Then wash very well. Exactly. That's the same thing I do, except I do it instead of an N95. I do it with a gas mask. I don't really care at all. So I just put it on, nitrile gloves, and cover as much as possible, and then using proper protocol. Yeah, guys, if you're wearing a gas mask, gloves, you're covering well with a hood, and you're keeping your distance from people, the chances of you getting infected are realistically zero. There's no chance of you getting infected using that kind of equipment. We are not close to it being dangerous at this moment. I still see 1 in 100 people wear an N95 mask. They wear a thin cotton mask. Really, Max Carter. So it's around here. Around here, when I go out, I don't see it. There's very rarely do you come across someone not wearing a mask. Uh, Everyone has some kind of face mask or something. Sometimes people wearing like a scarf, especially older people that couldn't get one, couldn't get a proper mask. But here, everyone is wearing protection. They're quite careful about that. What's your take on seeds or planting in small spaces? Italia. I think it's a great idea. If you can start a garden, if you have one already, uh, absolutely, yes. I'm in the U.S. I'm in the U.S. Guns haven't gone up yet, but ammo is running in the stores. Like the Venezuelan said, 1.5 years of food was not enough. No, absolutely not. That's just time. If you have a year worth of food, sure, you have some peace of mind, but you need to have a plan. When I was talking with a guy from Venezuela, yeah, I asked a question knowing the answer, but I asked him because this was one of the typical questions. If you could go back in time, what would you change? And he said, I would have gotten out of Venezuela, like you did. That is the obvious thing. But sure. The chances of someone calling the police will be guaranteed wearing that. No, I mean, no, no. I've gone in front of police, and the only thing I've got from cops around here was a thumbs up for wearing a mask. That's all I got. I've got positive comments. I don't know. My wife has this theory that people are scared of me. I wouldn't know why that is, but, Max, the cloth shirt mask is only to protect others. Real N95 or gas mask like Fairfield. I haven't seen that yet in Florida. Just finishing rebuilding and installing new filters in my old M17A2 military gas mask. I'm ready. Yes, in US, barely anyone wears mask when it's not required. I think people are embarrassed because society isn't used to it. Max Carter. There's no room for embarrassment in preparedness. You do what you know you have to do. You wear your mask or whatever equipment you have, and what could you possibly care about people you don't even know? Just protect yourself and just go about your day. Any garden can start is great, even in a window box. Yeah, absolutely. If you can start anything, if you I listened to you and Canadian Prepper for prepping advice. Who do you think is a good source of information on whether or not we will go into an economic collapse and what economic signs to watch for? I can tell Greg M. I can tell you right now, we are all going to be going through an economic Great Depression. Everyone, all over the world. Some countries are going to be hit worse, especially the more fragile ones. Third world countries, Africa, South America, underdeveloped nations. I mean, Argentina was already struggling, barely scratching as it was. This just destroys the place. And across South America, it's going to be very bad. But developed countries are going to be suffering as well. There's going to be a lot of unemployment, a lot of poverty. There's going to be very tough times ahead for everyone. Right now, I was grocery store here in South Carolina. Maybe 1 out of 50 people had a mask. None of the store employees wore masks, even those who prepared food. Man, that is so ridiculous. Around here, you know what they do? Around here, everyone working has a mask and gloves. And in my supermarket, there's a guy in the front door. First, there's only like 30, 40 people allowed into the store at a time. You're given in the door at the door. The guard gives you gloves to put on, and he gives you like a bit of, and he indicates you like a bottle of hand sanitizer. So you put your gloves on, you put a little bit of hand sanitizer, and only then do you touch the shopping cart. That's what everyone does. The masks, they don't provide those, but 9 out of 10 or 19 out of 20 people wear a mask around here. There's almost no one without one. And everyone keeps their distance. People here are super responsible about all of this stuff. And that's one of the things you can definitely say about the Spanish. When they get their act together, they do it very well. Everyone is super respectful. Shelves are full. There's nothing lacking. Nothing. There's toilet paper up to the top, all sorts of food. There's nothing missing in any shelves around here. And people behave very responsibly. That is more of a cultural thing. It's not always the same everywhere. Right now I'm in West. Okay. I have a half a dozen real N95s from 2002. The behind the head elastic straps suck. I did a needle sewing to change them. Behind the ear mask 10 times easier to put them on and off. Yeah, those go bad, after a little bit of time. Behind the ear N95s can put it on and off so easy. You can just put it on easy and as a cap, just the area around the checkout lines. Colorado Biker Prepper, I just changed jobs. I will be going into hospitals daily now. Man, be careful. Repairing hospital equipment, operating rooms, hence the mask. You definitely need a good mask. From HEPA, yeah, making a filter from a HEPA vacuum. A HEPA is a high efficiency particle air filter, which filters 99.97%. So a HEPA filter from your vacuum cleaner would be similar to an N100 filter. So you can definitely make one of those out of the bag of a vacuum cleaner, as long as it's an actual HEPA filter, an HEPA bag. Don't kid yourself, you will never have saved enough food. You can only plan and prepare up to a point, and this is something everyone should do. Yeah, the food supply that you have basically buys you time. And this is what we were talking with Daniel, the guy in Venezuela. So even if you have a year and a half of food, if you didn't make your move within that window of time, so you have a year of food, you have Hugo Chavez becoming the president of your country. You have to make a decision. His decision was not leaving. Most of his friends left. Some of his friends got killed. He was telling me, I'm alone, Fernando. I'm alone here. I don't have any friends anymore. They all left or got killed. So when you have that amount of food, you have to make your decision. Okay, I have some time to organize things and leave. But leaving is never easy because we tend to be attached to our stuff, our material belongings. One of the things he mentioned was, I'm so attached to my house. I saw people losing their homes. I don't want to lose mine. It's not easy. So never judge anyone for making those decisions. World Nature and Wildlife. Matt, I'm looking to make my 300 coffee filters into masks. Yeah, the coffee filter mask is not bad. Of course, the HEPA filters would be a proper 99.97% particle filter. So absolutely, if you can get a bag from a HEPA bag from a vacuum cleaner so as to make a filter, that would be perfect. You should be wearing one of those Fernando Darth Vader masks in your job. Yeah, even something, even a surplus mask like this. This is a proper filter, a proper nuclear, biological, and chemical filter. This is a very decent mask. I mean, these masks are going for like $200, $300 right now. And this filter will last you a long time. Maybe it's a little bit of overkill, but man, this is good protection right now. Never enough food. Plan for bug out no matter what. Yeah, there's eventually a point where you just have to make that decision. You have to make that call. Be careful with fiberglass filters and masks. Yeah, Mark, that's a great point. And be careful with some of those old Russian filters. Some of those had asbestos in them. You don't want to be breathing in that stuff. But with these use 40 millimeter NATO canisters. These are good to go. If you find one of these masks, this is good stuff. Oh, so some HEPA filters are fiberglass, okay, yeah. Well, that would be definitely something to check out. So as to check. I don't know that because I did change my vacuum cleaner's filter. I think it was like a paper material. I don't think it was fiberglass, but that's a good tip. It's worth looking into. What's that model? This one is an S10. This is an S10. The one I wear is a General Service respirator, which is the latest generation of gas masks. The one that replaced this one. So the one I wear, the one that looks like Darth Vader, that's the latest generation of gas mask for the British Army. This is the previous one, an S10. I've seen plated folded HEPA filters made into masks. The plated make very horizontal mask pleats. Many YouTube videos show how anything with a sewing machine can be hand stitched. Yes, of course, you can hand stitch just a couple of minutes, no big deal. The mask will work, but don't expect to date any girls. I'm married. I don't. Yeah, it's not really as bad as it looks, though. I got some interesting stares from wearing mine. Gear for chemical. No, Fernando, P100 masks are good. Yes, of course. A P100 would be perfect. That's a particle filter. A P100 is going to be filtering over 99.97% of the particles, so that's ideal. Guys, I got to go right now. It's pretty late around here, so it's been a pleasure, folks. I'm going to be doing this again next weekend. All right, I'm going to be doing this once a week around this time. So anyone that wants to hang next time, let me know, and we'll do this again. Okay? It's been great, guys. Take care, folks. Thanks. Bye bye.